What's up, everybody? Big Wolf here, bringing you hopefully the first of many helicopter tutorial slash hints and tips videos. These aren't going to be, I'm not going to start from the very basics, you know. I'm going under the assumption that you've taken off a helicopter before, that you kind of understand the idea of what you're supposed to be doing in the helicopters. So if you don't, you know, those are things that no one could really even teach you anyway. You just kind of have to, you know, taking off, getting used to flying is just one of those things that you learn it from practice. But obviously this is Damabond Peak defense for rush mode, and I guess I'm just gonna jump right into, you know, what I think you need to know before you even really start flying. Obviously you need to know the map, and you need to know the terrain, like the direction of where the enemy's coming from, all that good stuff, you know. So obviously here, I recognize that, you know, there's this nice big mountainside that I can hide behind that the enemy can't really get a good angle on. And so, you know, I use that to my advantage, where I just I try to stay behind it so people can't really, you know, get locks on me. I'm aware that there's this AA gun in their base. Obviously, when I started flying this game, I didn't know that they were just going to sit on it the whole time. So that was kind of my mistake. But here I'm just trying to let someone repair me. But my buddy Icebergs didn't have a repair kit, or, you know, engineer. So I told him to take over flying for a second so that I could repair the helicopter. And you know, then we just switched back seats real quick. Obviously, you know, you wanna be able to avoid the ground fire as much as you can. You know, like that AA gun shooting at me. You know, as soon as I could, once I recognized that that's what was shooting at me, I dipped. You know, I just went straight for cover and just got off the edge of the map. And pretty much I live over here this entire game. You know, just kind of trying to stay away from everyone. So that's really what you want to do. You don't want to leave yourself exposed, you know. Sure, you have more firepower than any one soldier by himself, but that AA gun is going to trash you all the time. So, you know, make sure that you know where you can get away from ground fire at all times. You know, eventually, sometimes you're going to have to venture out into fire. You know, that happens to me a few times where he gets a few hits on me, but ultimately, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, he never kills me. That AA gun does not ever kill me this entire game. So, and they don't beat us back past this first set of crates, which I kind of wanted them to do, actually, because I was, you know, they couldn't touch me. So, but here, you know, you see me just kind of trying to stay away. There's actually snipers up on the rock. I didn't quite notice them until someone called them out, but they actually sniped someone out of my helicopter. So yeah, here, you know, if you're flying a helicopter and you hear that tone, you stay calm. You know, you start with flares and the choppers. So you need to know that you have at least one chance to get away, which I used. And then when I use the flares, which you don't want to use the flares when you first hear the beep beep beep, or when you hear the solid beep. You want to use it when you hear that really fast, I don't know what to call it. It's right now. It's that. When I deployed the flares, is that's when you want to make that's the sound you want to hear before you deploy your flares, because that means that there's a missile incoming that's locked onto you. And then you saw what I did was I turned my helicopter away, I looked for a safe spot to land, and even though I didn't have someone to repair me, I just landed by myself and repaired my own helicopter. So, you know, this is kind of along the lines, you know, you really just, you need to keep yourself alive, because even if you're not to the point where you can get a lot of kills with the helicopter, people hate helicopters. People hate seeing other people flying helicopters. I don't know what it is, but even if you're not doing anything to the other team, they'll still try and shoot you down. You'll get 3 or 4 people trying to shoot you down in it, that helps your team a lot, because that's 3 or 4 people that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're wasting time trying to get locks onto you. They're wasting time sitting in their AA gun at their base trying to shoot you down. So keep yourself alive as much as you possibly can, and you're gonna at the very least be a distraction. Now, you know, once you've gotten the hang of, you know, keeping your helicopter up, you want to you want to get used to aiming the guns. The guns can be a little bit tricky at first, you know, because you have to understand that the guns on the helicopters, on the scout helicopters, which is what I'm talking about flying right now, are mounted on the side wings. So when you fire them, they actually don't come to a point in the center of the helicopter where that crosshair is. They leave a gap in between them of a couple of feet, which is actually enough for a soldier to be in between. So you might make a perfect strafe run and put the crosshair dead center on someone, and you're never going to kill them that way, because the bullets don't actually go there. They go a little bit off center because of the positioning of the guns. So when you're trying to target people, you need to keep that in mind and fire a few rounds and try and figure out where people are. And I failed miserably there. Don't do that. If you see a target, make sure that you're going to kill them before you start shooting, because they're going to run away. So yeah, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to target people. Obviously, you know, another thing is when you first start flying, you're not going to have nearly as much control as I do in the helicopter. You know, I keep it steady almost the whole time. That's what you want to strive to do, though. You want to be able to pick out targets, keep your movement so that you're completely in control, and only move as fast as you need to. Most people aren't going to try and shoot you down with an unguided rocket. Most people aren't going to be able to shoot you out of the helicopter. So you really don't need to worry too much about flying slow enough for that. If you do get hit by a rocket, you will have a chance to land and repair yourself. So that's one good thing. And another fail where I actually come into a rock there. You know, so keep yourself steady, give yourself enough time to aim at targets, and that's really all you need to do. Targeting in specific, you know, who to target, you obviously need to know who's a primary target, who's a secondary target. Obviously on this map, there's really not much to differentiate between, but you obviously, if you're in communication with your team, you want to pick off people who are shooting at your teammates first of all. See, like this mortar guy, I was on the Skype call with my squad here, and they said, you know, hit the mortar guy. Boom, done. No more mortar strikes. So, you know, that's one thing if you're in communication. If you're not, obviously you want to hit, you know, mortar teams first. Next, you obviously need to hit engineers. If you can differentiate who's an engineer and who's not, you always want to hit an engineer first if you have the choice. Like engineer versus sniper, you always shoot the engineer, because he's the one that has the rockets. He's the one that can hurt you, and you have to be first before everyone else. So, you know, don't worry about, you know, if you're gonna die and your teammate's gonna die, you let your teammate die and you keep yourself alive all the time. That's the big thing. Let's see, what else do we got? You know, obviously if you have a gunner in your helicopter from one of the doors, you can fly. If you're not good enough to get kills with the forward-facing Gatling guns, you can, you know, while you're practicing getting your aim down, you might want to think about turning the chopper sideways and letting them take a few shots. You know, like I'll let my friends shoot rockets and stuff at vehicles, because the Gatling guns don't do much damage to tanks. So if there's a tank below us, you know, why not? You know, you can fly on most vehicles except for the Tunguska, which is the anti-air gun on nose-air canals. Nothing else can aim vertically, so if you put your helicopter directly above them and then you rotate to the side a little bit, your gunner is going to be able to just plop a rocket right in the top of that tank or that Jeep, you know, whatever it may be. And so right here, you know, here's another thing, you know, communication is a huge thing in the helicopter. You have the best view. You need to tell your teammates where people are. I'm saying there's a guy in the road coming towards our base, to Johnny, and he hunted the guy down, you know. I'm like, I got this side covered. If he comes out, you know, I got twin Gatling guns right here, baby. He could come at me all day. He's not going to kill me. And, you know, he hunted the guy down. He flushed him out, and he took him out, so... You know, communication is a huge thing in the helicopters. You know, here, people get spotted on the hillside. I got a great shot on them, so just plop them, you know. And like I said, keep yourself out of fire, like I'm doing right now. I haven't gotten locked on in like 6 minutes or something. Of course, I had to say something, so I get locked, obviously. Here I take a hit because I didn't deploy my flares quite quickly enough. I didn't even think he was going to get the rocket off, but you know, I'm pretty confident in the chopper, so I wasn't even really worried at this point. I was just trying to get back to this kind of flat area to repair before the game ended, because at this point I just recognized that I was flawless and I didn't want to die, and I accidentally hit circle instead of X to switch seats, and I would have actually died, but I ended up finishing this game 11-0, in case you weren't counting. Oh, I do have the scoreboard. Sometimes I shut off my recording too soon. So, my next video is going to be the helicopters that have Gatling guns on the side, and then after that I'll do attack helicopters, because rush mode only has one map currently that has the attack helicopter, so not really too worried about doing that one.